This is the Diary of a Lady Band Director podcast, brought to you by the Passion Is Network.
Hello. Uh-oh, Lauren, loud. I'm like jumpy. That ain't cool. At all. All right. No, you good. We can hear you now. But I'm glitchy. The devil.
Oh, yeah, I see.
All right.
Hello.
Let me make sure my life is going right. All right, let's see. I'm like robotic glitchy. I'm about to send me my husband. All right, you might have to talk a little bit, Lauren, because I got to figure out why I'm glitchy. And Rolanda is here, but your camera not on, boo-boo. I don't know if you know that or not. Oh, there she go. See, we on this new system. All right, Lauren, you might have to talk because I got to know why I'm like that.
We are experimenting with a new platform. So, oh boy. Also, forgive me because I'm just getting over a cold. So I'm a little, please forgive me. Welcome to Diary of a Lady Band Director, the only all-woman podcast on air that talks about everything band and music education from all the view of woman. As usual, we love sharing the stage with our dedicated viewers to gain more insight and encourage dialogue throughout. So if you want to share your insight, mic up using the link pin. Recently, I actually didn't go to Midwest this past year. I went last year. It was my first time going, and it was an amazing experience. What I was upset about is that I didn't go sooner. I wish I went in undergrad instead of 10 years after undergrad. Seeing what our band directors was talking about, it gives you exposure to the band world, the orchestral world, and the music world around us, and what the trends are in the band room, in the orchestral rooms, what's being played, who the new composers are, who are the trending band directors, and it's a really good event for networking. And what I do like from what I saw on social media is that a lot of band directors from HBCUs, a lot more band directors who graduated from HBCUs who have their own band programs. They're going now and they're networking, trying to see how they could build their programs better. So tonight is myself, Lauren Cohen, also Krystal. She's having some technical difficulties and she will be back with us shortly. And also we have a guest with us, Miss Rolanda Lyles. Hi, if you could introduce yourself to our viewers.
Hey everybody, I'm Rolanda. I am a middle school director for Birmingham City Schools at Wilkerson Middle School, and I also serve as the assistant director for Parker High School.
Okay, very good. I know a lot of middle school band directors, they, especially if they have a good what's it called, sequency, if they have a good sequency, they have the middle school directors help out the high school band directors so that um your students don't skip a beat, when they go to high school. It's just, everything is reinforced from that level to the next level. So that's really good. Rolanda, it's my first time meeting you. So welcome to the show. And Krystal is back.
Yeah, I had to turn off the green screen. I need a new laptop. I don't want to connect to Mac Daddy because I don't like iPhone. Y'all know I don't like iProducts, but Lord, they're just trying to convert me. Hello, man. First of all, I'm you gotta catch me up because I was back there trying to get my whole life situation.
No. So we were talking. Oh, I was talking to Rolanda. I just had her introduce herself to our viewers, and she stated where she was from and what her what she does. She's a band director in Birmingham City Schools, which is really cool. So question, were you a part of that? I think it was Birmingham City Schools that had that all city battle of the bands, and they had the the showcase. It was pretty cool, actually. Wish we could have something like that up here.
Oh, I wish. Yeah. I wish. Well, the recap of Midwest. First of all, this is now my second time going to Midwest. I liked it. But there's a whole lot of hoopla going on the internet about Midwest, and I mean, not just Midwest, but other conferences too. And I'm kind of trying to figure out why people got their issues with conferences. And sometimes people like, oh yeah, this is our way into the door and blah, blah, blah. And you should be attending because it's professional development. And then we got another delegation that's like, they racist and we need to start our own and pretty much forget them. And it's like, I don't know. I haven't had a bad experience, but I won't say that I can't understand that sentiment. Black people, we always kind of have this, they don't accept us. And then we get in, and then when they realize that they can benefit off of us, then everything's all honky-dory. So the first question, I think there's a lot of educators that showed up. A lot of Black people showed up. Lauren, I think, our first time, I was like, okay, it's not quite as, white bread as I thought. But I think this year, I think the Kinfolk Collective showed up. That's how I looked at it. I don't know. What do you think, Rolanda? Do you feel like we showed up?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. This is my third Midwest. And I know the first time I went was maybe like 3-4 years ago. And I know the first time I went, it was like me and 2 other guys that came. And we felt so out of place. But like this time, there was like way more of us that showed up. I was impressed. I was impressed by like the showing. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So that leads us kind of to the first question. What should a director expect going to Midwest? Like their first time Midwest, what should they expect? And Lauren, you can go first because you went last year, but me and Rolanda, we both went this year. So,
well, as I mentioned before, they should expect a lot of networking, a lot of people talking and basically comparing their band programs to another band director. Firstly, the thing that caught my eye was, of course, the showroom. They have an amazing showroom with different vendors from different companies for different instruments or uniforms, or they also have schools there, if for students that are already in undergrad for their graduate programs. There are also schools there for high school students that go to Midwest, recruited for their undergrad program. So yeah, the showroom is so amazing. So if you go there for the first time, go to the showroom, walk around, talk to the different vendors, experiment with different products that they have. They have vendors for every type of instrument in band and orchestra. Also, if you work with marching bands, they have vendors for uniforms, equipment, flags, dance uniforms, everything that you could think about to support your marching band. So they have that. They have composers there that have their own booths selling their music. Also, people who write the method books, who arrange and compose as well, method books. They have those there. Like last year, we met the guy, and Krystal affectionately calls it the Texas book. As I believe it's called a technique for bands. It's a blue book. And this is a book that I had from middle school all the way through high school. So remember I told you about the sequencing and also the continuity. With me, it started in middle school. And then I continued with that book in high school. So just to meet one of the authors of that book, I thought it was an honor. It was good for me. I felt like he was flattered when I said, well, I had this book since middle school. I've used it from 6th to 12th grade. And, my middle school and high school had nothing to do with each other. It was just the standard. So, you meet different composers. And then, outside of that, you have the different, you have the clinics, how to fix instruments. I went to one about repairing instruments. And they gave free kits. They had a raffle. They gave free kits and supplies.
Hold
and
on,
things.
I'm sorry. I gotta interrupt you, Lauren. Where that kid at?
Huh?
Where's
No,
that kid?
it wasn't like a full kit. It was I won something in a raffle. It was for women, but it wasn't like a whole kit. It was like a little something that
She holding out.
But yeah, they but yeah, there's different clinics on how to address certain issues in the band room. A lot of the clinics now focus on resources from a DEIA standpoint, how to support a program who may not have as much as of a budget or resources as another band program. A lot of them have been around that. So yeah, definitely go to the clinics to see what the trends are. And also one more thing, the performances. They had Amani Wins there last year and I was swooned. Oh my God. They have Amani Wins. And I actually took a picture with the bassoon player. Her name is Monica. I gotta look up her name. But she has long golden locks. I just love her. Amani Wins, they still have the original the original bassoon player, oboe player, and excuse me. Who else is an original that's there? I think the clarinet player, the French horn player, are our original, and the flute player. Miss Coleman was she still supports Amani Wins, but she doesn't play with them actively anymore. So it was just cool to see them. I bought a couple of their albums. Seeing the United States Army Field Band was really good. Also, I finally saw Jerry Junkin in his glory with the Dallas Winds. So yeah, it's just all types of things that encompass is so much. Like I could talk about how I went to meeting with the HBCU band directors. I went to one with the women band directors. I went to one with TBS and Kappa Kappa Psi because they were presenting awards. They also had like a booth for Phi Mu Alpha, and Phi Mu Alpha was singing. It's just a lot. So I would say as a person going there for the first time, definitely experience the showroom. I would say do a lot of listening and less talking so you can observe the room, read the room. I think that's with anything you do, not just with Midwest Clinic, but with any conference that you go to, especially for the first time. I would do a lot of listening and less talking.
I wanted to kind of hit back because some people might not know who Imani Winds are, but it is basically originally was a Black ensemble, small ensemble of musicians, and they're like top notch, and we're starting to see a lot more diverse ensembles, not just at Midwest, but just period. So I have to piggyback on that showroom. If you're gonna go, bring some money. Don't you listen? Eat a bag lunch. Don't go shopping. Leave that Amazon alone a little bit. If you're a musician, because you're gonna get on that showroom floor and you're gonna want something, and you're gonna be like, "Dag, I gotta eat for 3 days or 4 days," but there's a clarinet here, and it plays itself pretty much and they have a lot of deals. So I'm gonna say, like, on the exhibitor floor, my God, make sure you got some money. I spent $200. I spent about $250 on music alone. Like, but I'm a musician, so it's kind of like I equate it to, like, if you have something you're really passionate about, like music, or I'll say like men in cars. Stereotypically men in cars, like going to the showroom floor and those car shows and stuff like that. So bring some money. What do you think, Rolanda? I'm a reserve my piece of advice with that what to expect.
I mean, I definitely agree. I know the first time I went to Midwest, I ended up getting in trouble because I didn't get much PD hours because I spent so much time in the exhibit halls, like looking at stuff. And I like looking at the music. Like, I buy a lot of music. I know this past time when we went, I bought some music, but I found out like the last day they end up giving a lot of that stuff away, like stuff they have on like in person or whatever. So I'll like find some stuff. I ain't gonna lie, I hid a couple of songs. I was like, I'm gonna come back and see if it's still here. And then the last day I was like, oh, they was like, well, if you want it, you can get one. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go grab this one. So definitely, definitely. I spend a lot of time like looking at different songs. I like to listen to like when the reading bands are playing new music to see, what I like for my kids to play. And I'm a planner, so I plan like my next year now. Like, we're getting ready for assessments, and I'm already looking at music that I've bought for us to play for the next year. So I go to Midwest or I go to any conference and I'll see like what's out, and I'll go ahead and start getting stuff. So I have some options for me to start planning for my next year. Other than that, I like looking at, like you said, the trends for what's happening in the band world. I know last year when I went to a good session about branding your band and doing fundraisers and stuff like that and raising good money for your group. I also did go to the one about instrument repairs, and I recorded like most of that because I was like, oh, he's saying some good stuff. Let me record this so I can know, what I'm doing. And I do a lot of repairs and stuff at my school as well because we kind of, do stuff on our own. So I've come quite the handy person. So I try to like listen and see what they're talking about and what can be useful for me. I know I'm trying to build double reeds and stuff at my school. So whenever I see anything about oboes and bassoons, I like to go listen to those and see what kind of tidbits they'll say for me to bring back to my schools. I know the first time I ever went to Midwest, there was sessions on bucket drumming, and at the time I had a bunch of kids like thrown in my room, so that's when I started bucket band, for my kids, and we did bucket band again this year. So pretty much whenever I go, I would just suggest, like you said, Lauren, just kind of looking and seeing what all they offer. I kind of read to see what they're going to be talking about, and I go, sit in and see what they're talking about. If they have handouts, I like to get those. Or sometimes they'll have the PDFs online, so you can kind of go back and look at those things if it's something you want to take back with you. And, you kind of check it out to see, okay, what they're talking about. And then if it's not hitting on nothing, then I'll go check out something else, or I have somebody else go there. So if I go to this one and you go to this other one, we can share information and try to get the most out of, our visit or whatever. So yeah, definitely. I try to soak up as much as I can. I'm still working on the networking part of things. I'm not that great at, I guess, like, I don't know, I'm sociable, but I'm not that great at like just going to talk to folks like that. But I do try to, if they have at the exhibits, they'll talk about different fundraisers or different products. Like I know there was something that was kind of like, it was kind of like not No Flight, not Smart Music. It was one of those programs that they were doing, and I ended up going to talk to them and kind of getting a trial version for my school to try out. Or I know we ended up having a good relationship with Greenhorn Project with Birmingham City, with them coming to get instruments from us. So I try to, find those opportunities to talk to people that can help me or help our schools, and just finding sessions that'll be beneficial to us when I go to professional developments and conferences.
I think you said something real important. That music, like a lot of new repertoire hits the floor at Midwest. But the other part is the composers are there. And I like one of my favorite composers there, but which is ironic because he lives like 10 minutes away from my former school, Brian Baumagers, and he gave me a free score off the cuff. Was like, here you go. Like you said, that free. So when people start talking about resources and I don't have and I don't know, my grandmother said closed mouth don't get fed. So if you're not saying what you need and you're not going places where, or you don't know that Midwest, there's some, free opportunities. They're not going to put that on the flyer like we giving away music on the last day. You just have to be in the room, which is kind of what this whole topic about is, having a seat at the table. You first have to be in the room. And some of these rooms, the door isn't closed anymore. Now, I ain't going to talk about how they treat you when you're in the room. That's a whole nother topic. We'll get on that in a little bit. But you got to be in the room. And if you're not in the room to get that free score or the I think we just lost Sean Stream. Oh, we got bumped out. Oh, we back. Yeah, but you got to be in the room. If you're not in the room, oh, am I muted? I'm not muted anymore. Okay. You got to be in the room. Glenn, if you don't go away chewing these chips, listen, I'm about to be ghetto. All I hear my left, I got a friend here, and all I hear is.
I'm sorry if I'm trying to watch greatness.
Go away. Get on YouTube.
I'm your biggest cheerleader.
I mean, that's the most distracting. Bad enough, my son usually come down and he kind of be like tiptoe. I'm sorry, I had to break character. I was like, if you don't stop eating these chips in my damn ear, Lord. I was like, what is that? I thought it was the guinea pigs, y'all. I'm sorry. I was like, what the hell? Don't laugh at me, Rolanda. I'm ghetto. Sometimes. You can take the girl out the ghetto. You can't take the ghetto out the girl. Anyway, yeah. That free music, that's a big thing. If you don't have the know-how to fix instruments and you ain't got one of them budget daddies, they got a clinic and some of y'all don't know how to start up double reeds, and you like on Facebook like, I don't know how to start double reeds, or I don't know how to set up a clarinet. I went to Denise Gainey session. Denise Gainey dropped all of the things that I would have said to anybody who have ever asked me, how do you start a clarinet player? Like down to the letter. I was like, yeah, she knows what she's talking about and she knows how to explain it well. So, I mean, you get professional development credit for it. A lot of districts, unfortunately don't let their educators go. And that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate when you can't go because you're missing out on some great opportunities. But I don't know what to expect for me. Make sure you got comfortable shoes, because you're going to get you're gonna get some mileage on those marching band feet. If you did marching band, just know you're gonna get about 16,000 steps easy, just walking around. So make sure you got the right shoes on. Don't wear those slippery Earls. I don't know how them brothers be doing it. The brothers be suited and booted. They be looking good, but I be like, y'all feet don't hurt. And I'm a woman, so it's bad. I'm like, y'all feet don't hurt. But expect to get a lot of exercise in. Expect it to be a long haul. Curtis Akeem McCullough was like taking a nap. He kept going live. And he was like, I got to take a nap. I got to go back to the room. That was me and Lauren last year. It was like, we got to go back to the room.
Look, just to interrupt you for a bit, Krystal, I said this on Curtis Akeem McCullough's live. I said, it is not a sprint. It is a marathon. We're not in college anymore where we can stay up all day and stay up all night. Like it's forever going from early in the morning to the latest of night. Like all the sessions are just back to back to back to back to back. After you have the sessions, then there's the concert. After the concert is like networking sessions, and after the party is the after party, and after the party is hotel lobby. It's like seriously, it's ever going. It's like it doesn't stop for 4 days. Like seriously. Yeah, Midwest, like it was a lot. I was napping and sleeping a lot as well. And like I don't blame them, but yeah, bring some comfortable shoes. I agree with Krystal. Bring some comfortable shoes, wear comfortable clothing. Wear comfortable clothing, wear something nice, like professional, but casual as well. You can do casual professional with that because you have to be in something all day where you're not, tugging around in there or you immediately want to throw off. Like you have to make yourself as comfortable as possible, but also in a professional setting. So yeah, I was just chiming in with Krystal. Like, yeah, it's a good time, but it's a long time, So yeah, just make sure you have everything you need as far as comfort goes.
I'm trying to let Michaela in. See, we all learning this new platform today. So we got a little overview, little snapshot. Your feet got hurt. The food is delicious. We know that. That's Chicago. We don't even need to talk about that because I'm trying to work those pounds off. And get some music, get some PD credit, go to some shows. We'll play a little devil's advocate with some of the sessions in a little bit. But the next question, now we got a little bit of snapshot. The next question. Are music education conferences all what they're cracked up to be? There's a lot of debate around this, and in particular, Midwest. Is it all what it's cracked up to be? Are people just like capping? Are people just going to be seen and they're not getting anything out of it? It's just kind of like, we hype it up because I saw that on social media a lot. Like, oh, people just go because they're trying to be seen. And I don't know. Whoever wants to take the floor, what do you think, Rolanda? Is it all what it's cracked up to be?
I mean, that's kind of a loaded question. For me, I really enjoy Midwest and I get a lot out of it, but I do see, sometimes where, we'll be at Midwest and it'll be a bunch of folks just posting pictures of them at stuff just to show that, hey, I'm at this conference. I really I don't even post a lot of stuff like while I'm out there. I just like to go get, what I can get. And then if I meet people, like when I met Krystal, I told her, I was like, I'm fangirling, like, oh my God, it's Krystal. Sometimes I, make those connections and meet people or whatever while I'm there. Or, I'll get like a gem of information or something that I take with me. But and I guess that's just me. I'm kind of a private person in the way I just don't go posting everything just for folks to know that, hey, I'm at this conference. But I don't know. For me, it's a big deal. I can't speak for everybody else. It does seem like for some people that it's just, for people to see that, hey, I'm getting, these PD credits, or I'm at Midwest, and I'm, taking this picture with this important person or whatever. But I don't know.
Lauren, you go ahead. I got so much to say about it. I got to be quiet. I'm gonna run my mouth too much. Is it all what it's cracked up to be these conferences? Because you're not a band director, so I want to hear what you think.
Well, excuse me, I'm still a little right now. For me, it was because it felt like I was in a place with like-minded people, and I felt like for a very long time I wasn't with like-minded people. So, it was just eye-opening to see people like me in the same place, And it's not just for band directors. I just started teaching private lessons, so it's for grad students. It's for students as well. So like I said, I wish I would have seen it as a student. One of my frat brothers, one of my chapter brothers, he may or may not be in the chat. He said if he'd have seen this at undergrad, it would have changed his trajectory. And I agree, and I feel the same way. I feel the same way. I would have stuck to music. It would have been more encouraging for me to stick with it instead of going on a big detour. So I will say, however, I understand why there are those that don't go, because some of the sessions are kind of like, it could have been like, some of them could have been an email, or some of them, I remember there was one session last year where, it's like, oh, how to, help a band that's underfunded, or, this band versus that band, but both bands had pretty good resources. So I feel like some of the people that are presenting on topics that they don't have real experience with, like how to deal with low income. And somebody's definition of low income is different than what being low income, being from certain areas, truly is, and I feel like there has to be, it wasn't real enough, it wasn't a real enough conversation, and they wanted us to have quote unquote courageous conversations, but it's within somebody else's scope of what courageous means. Like, don't get too out there. We just, want to graze on the topic a little bit, so to say that, oh, we did this, we really did it. So you know what I mean? So some of the clinics can be a little bit more relatable is the word. It could be more relatable. Um, and that's my idea of why people don't go, because I guess the whole taking pictures with people and the who's who of bands and this, that, and the third. Don't get me wrong, it is a great network event. You are there to be seen. That's what you're supposed to do. Be there to be seen, especially if you're trying to get to another level of your career. If you want to be a high school band, if you're a high school band director, if you want to be a collegiate band director, meet collegiate band directors. That's the purpose of this conference. It helps with that trajectory. I don't see the harm in wanting to see and to be seen and to shake people's hands. A lot of people think it's capping. I don't think it's capping. Like, this is what networking is about, and people just don't know what networking means. Now, are there those that do that? Absolutely. People do, host events and go to certain places for self, like, ooh, look at me, I did this. But if there's no product, now somebody did say this on social media, if you don't have a good product coming out of Midwest, if you haven't learned anything, I get why people are saying, they're not getting anything out of it, they're not. But also, there's a lot of other variables of why people don't have a product. So I wouldn't say not go to Midwest, because it is a good event. I would just say, you need to have a goal coming out of there. You have to go with a purpose. So yeah, that's how I see it.
I want to take a moment. One, welcome guest Michaela. She was in the chat about to pop off. I said we gotta get you on the screen. So I'm glad we were able to get you on. We are twinning with hair right now. We must have felt the same thing. Wash, go get that scrunchie, wrap it up, let it do what it do. So thank you for being on. Michaela, if you don't mind just sharing a little bit about where you're from, where you teach at, and the question is going across the screen. So if you feel like it, because I saw you in the chat, she was like, I want to answer this. So give us a little brief info about yourself, and we're gonna keep it moving. Yeah, hit the
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Michaela Moore Harris, and I'm a band director at Putnam Middle School in Birmingham, Alabama. And forgive me for being late, but I think we had some time zone issues. I happened to see Rolanda post in the group chat, and I was like, is it time already? Like, but so hi, yeah. And this hair, I looked at your hair, I was like, but so do I think Midwest is worth it? I think where you are in your career contributes a lot to what you're going to retain from the conference. Some of the conferences, like me being an 18-year music educator, I'm sitting in and I'm like, I've heard this a million times. So, you know, I need the PLUs, you know, the credit. I also think that is great for branding and awareness of the conference to share on your social media, just to maybe encourage younger band directors. But for me, the highlight of Midwest is always connecting with other music educators and, you know, sharing ideas. I mean, in each session you sit in, you just take what you need and leave what you don't. But yeah, I like it.
Yeah, it's that chew the meat and spit out the fat. Like, there's no perfect anything to me. I don't know. Like, there's no PD that I've ever gotten. And now there's some awesome PDs I've gone to, and I'm like, damn, that's a good PD. And I met y'all in a PD. But but I just think it's unrealistic to expect them to hit all of the things you need in something that's so big. It's just so big. But the comments, some people in the chat, I'm gonna put this up there saying they only cater to, you know, Lauren said a specific audience, and someone said also earlier on the flip side, some of the clinics only speak to 10% of the attending population. But they also had those surveys, and I think people don't understand, like, when you go to something like that, you spend your money and they put a survey out there, do it. I mean, if you do it and you feel like everybody's doing it and you don't see no change year to year, but you know, Professor Wooten said, I've seen some things change over the years. Been since 1986. I ain't gonna say how old I was in 1986, but that's enough time to say I've seen how it's transitioned. And they said it's very different, some ways better, other ways not so much. I think that just goes with the territory. Go ahead.
If I can chime in, this is my third year attending Midwest. And to be honest, I feel like this year was the most inclusive for HBCUs. We had FAMU performing in the lobby. TSU had a big stage performance. I feel like this year was more of a nod to HBCUs. And it might have felt that way as well because we attended the HBCU awards night. So, yeah, I just kind of felt like people of color were celebrated a little more this year. And again, you take what you need out of the sessions. Like I went to a session that explored flute pedagogy. Well, that's not necessarily catering to any audience. That's just, I mean, if you need to teach a beginner flute player how to play flute, then, I mean, go to this session. So, you know, and then again, for those who might feel that way, I think I mentioned to Rolanda that all of the presidents of the boards have all been white. Like if you look at the pictures of everybody who's like been over the board of directors, they're all white. I don't even know if I saw any Black people on the board of directors, so I don't want to overspeak, but for sure, those presidents over the conference, I follow their social media. This is the first year I'm starting to see like more Black people on their social media. So maybe they're trying to be a little more inclusive and intentional about, you know, catering to everybody. But again, like you said, we don't always hit the mark. So hit those surveys.
But I got, I don't know, it's kind of spin off on the question. With that, aren't most of the organizations that, I mean, I think across this page, well, first of all, there's a bunch of SAI people on the screen for the first time in my podcast. Even our regular panel is like everybody's music, something or something. Like, of course, we have the HBCU commonality, but like,
except for Rolanda now. She's
Rolanda,
not
like,
HBCU.
Rolanda, like
UAB, dear.
All right, here we go. Well, we welcome you to the picnic cookout anyway.
Welcome me to the cookout anyway.
Yep. You could come to homecoming. You'll enjoy it more. I promise. But it's one, most of these organizations are white. Midwest is not the exception to the rule. It is still the rule. Like whether you are in your MEA or whether it's NAFME abroad, or whether it is even Music for All, an organization sometimes that are supposed to be for us, they still ran by people who don't look like us. So I don't like us singing out one thing when we walk around with our Greek letters. Like, you know, I know Team Red, we gonna leave that alone today. We gotta leave that alone.
Please don't put me in that predicament, because you know I'm blue team too. So don't.
Yeah, that's why we gonna discretion is the key. Yeah, but a lot of these organizations are white. They're white, and DEIA is in. We got a response in the chat. But much of it is checking a box. And we know that. First of all, we know that. Don't get it twisted. Black people know that. We know that at Midwest. We saw a lot of sessions that were sisters. And sisters check two boxes. And I'm going to be real about this, because sometimes the brothers think that we don't understand that there is an intersectionality with being a woman, being a Black woman. And sometimes when it's time to check a box, it's more palatable because they're like, oh, we got women and they Black. Like, and they're not really listening. They just saying, yeah, you go, girl. And I'm like, don't do that. But we're being real. We know that they're trying to check some boxes and some initiatives because they want the money. Let's be real. They want the money, and because some organizations right now are folding in half because they have not changed their ways and people are pulling money. So at the end of the day, we know why we're in the room. We know why the doors have opened a little bit wider for us to be in the room. So we can't, I'm not going to say that Midwest is the best thing since sliced bread, because I can't say that about any organization where we historically were not included. I think it's good to say that Tennessee State, the Collegians Jazz Band, they didn't just enter the door. They kicked that down. They they said, oh, we're going to be the first. We're going to set a standard that you have not seen before. It was hands down ticket worthy. Like, I would have paid for a ticket. And that Camille on that saxophone.
Oh yeah.
Like for every girl, black or white, for every girl that was ever told we can't do jazz, she took jazz and she made jazz hers for a night. She sung, she was the epitome of black girl excellence. Like, I'm gonna scat, I'm gonna sing, I'm gonna play this solo, I'm gonna rip through this saxophone, and I'm gonna be very humble and I'm gonna be very just ladylike about it. It was just awesome. So that's, I had to say that was my spiel. But are they all what they cracked up to be? I like your answer, Rolanda. Sometimes, yeah. I mean, sometimes no. It's where you are, in your career. Like Lauren is a grad student looking to build a studio. It's beneficial to see what it looks like. It's beneficial to network at my age. Mm-hmm. And that's not capping. And then there are a lot of composers, diverse composers that were there. We can't just say I ain't showing up. When you say you're not showing up for them either. You're not showing up for Tennessee State when they kick down the door. Like, it'd be wrong to me to not show up when they're gonna have to perform against the odds anyway. Like, we sometimes just need to show up because somebody else is doing something that we have yet to do.
Support.
I don't know. That's my spiel. Next question. This is good. I'm learning how to find the questions and click on them.
Ooh, I'm seeing the chat now. I just saw the little icon on the side so I can see the chat.
All right, so we got a new question. Is a seat at the table accessible for Black music professionals? Is the seat, and I'm gonna say the Midwest table, and I'm gonna just throw out so we can frame it a little bit, clinicians. Is the seat there for us to present?
I'm not aware. I'm not all that certain of the application process, but there is an application process. I could imagine if I would think that if you're presenting something, that resonates with the larger crowd, especially if they've been like assessing surveys, I think they want you to come on board, hopefully, regardless of your ethnic background or, I would hope so, especially with this being a conference that we patronize. We need to see ourselves represented.
Anybody know about the application process?
I saw it for TMEA, but not Midwest.
So for Midwest, they actually send email, like, because, I went to Midwest for the first time, they send emails about signing up to be a presenter for clinics, and they give deadlines and everything, or signing up to have an ensemble perform. If you want, to your ensemble perform, of course, it's like a video process. You send in a video. So if you go to their website, or if you just sign up, or if you've been before and they still have your email, they'll actually give you those emails. I've been getting
Mr. Charles says it's online.
Okay, cool. So so if you're not getting emails, then just go on their website. It's not hard to find it. To answer the question, let's see. Which question is it? Because I know you asked one question. Is a seat at the table accessible for Black music professionals?
Yeah, I changed the question by accident.
Okay. So, like Mr. Wooten said, DEIA is in now. So the door is open, and not just in Midwest, for a myriad of organizations. Like, if you look at a lot of job postings, a lot of descriptions of what they want. They want, well, DEIA doesn't mean you have to be a minority, but they would prefer you to be a minority, right? So, because sometimes, or there's some organizations that really want to help minority organization, and then there are other organizations that want us to solve the problem of racism, and that's not our. We don't save orgs from racism, but just to add that in there, yeah, there is. All you have to do is apply and see if you can get in. But also that goes into the networking and everything. I feel like you would have to have shown your face before. I would say go to a Midwest first and show your face. Get people to know who you are first before you apply to do a clinic. Because, unless you're like a celebrity, or if you're like in another area where you're doing things in music and your name's getting around, chances are you probably won't present. However, for Black professionals, I feel like this is a good time for. I think it should be flooded with theses and ideas and from Black professionals. I'd say flood the system with Black professionals since DEI is in and HBCUs are cool. And if you didn't go to an HBCU, since being Black is cool now, and I would say take advantage of it. We can't always question the motives of the organization. However, like Michaela said, we need to be represented. So there's no harm. There's no harm in applying to present. And like Tyler Perry said, he said, shoot, sometimes you got to make your own table. So the best way to make your own table is to have experience doing this at other people's table and then learn how to make your table. So I don't see the harm in it.
I like what Ron says. Ron said the more gimmicky, the better. And I could see that. I could see, well, first, I also think it needs to be relevant. So like if 10 people have already applied to present on beginner, like improving beginner band sound, then maybe, you could come up with a more creative way to present that topic. So I think the more you can like stand out from others submitting, probably your timeliness on submitting, trying to beat out everybody else who wants to come in and present on tuba techniques or upper brass. I think that makes it, probably increases your chances. But gimmicky, that's interesting that he says that, because I could see people attracted to certain titles. I know with TMEA, you pretty much have to have your entire presentation ready to submit like a year in advance. I mean, I just wonder, does that give you room to change? Do you have to resubmit if you modify your presentation in any way? I wonder what's up with that.
If I could chime in, I'm going to apply to Midwest. Something that I think this is good information for us, for my people to hear it, because I saw a lot of people saying like they want to present. And I'm like, okay, that's great. But there's an art to it. And y'all know, I know there's an art to presenting. But the first thing you have to first of all do before you even think about presenting is you have to know your market. You have to know your target market. It is marketing 101. And I've seen Curtis Akeem Cullum doing like marketing. That is so important. You have to know how to market your product. You have to know how to market yourself. And he said something about working the room. This is why you can't go to Midwest and just sit in the showroom floor and don't open your mouth, or don't go to any of the other social events or the other happenings. Because if you want to present, you have to have a sponsor. A lot of the organizations I presented for, if it's not word of mouth and you haven't networked so much that they just email you, I'm starting to be at that point, thank God, that people just email me. Like, I have to check my email more often because we were like, okay, we want you to speak at Sphinx. I'm speaking at Sphinx. That was crazy to me. I didn't apply. I just got an email. But before you do that, you have to market yourself and you have to practice presenting. You can't just say, I have a great idea and throw it in the wind, because what happens first, a lot of people need to know this, is if you have a sponsor, the bigger the sponsor, the more likely you're going to get in. They're going to see Con Selmer. They're going to see this. And those organizations get a certain amount of blocks, period. They just do. Money talks. And that's the reality. And I'm probably sharing a trade secret, but you know what? I don't believe in trade secrets because I want us all to win. You got to have a sponsor. And if you don't have the right sponsor, then yours goes in general pool. And then that's when your title got to be catchy enough. You got to be, have your finger on the pulse of what's happening in music education. And if your finger's not on the pulse, like, you know, I've seen presentations where they're still talking about practices that don't include technology. I'm like, where they do that at? You still talking about something that people don't do no more. And if you're Black and brown, is even more important that you have your finger on the pulse. So you can't walk around these conferences, or you can't just not come to conferences and say, I want to present. Nobody knows who you are. Nobody trusts something they've never seen before. That's humans. That has nothing to do with race. They don't trust it if they've never seen you talk, or they end up with a situation like NAFME a couple of years ago with the bassoon comment. So back to what Michaela was saying, your presentation has to be done. I have about 10 presentations that sit on my Google Drive ready to go with a link at any given moment. As soon as I see a hot topic, or I see somebody say something, and I see people asking questions on social media, that's about knowing your target market. That's when I'm like, bloop, let me go ahead and drop this into TMEA, New Jersey MEA, NAFME. Let me drop this. And they do that same presentation over and over and over. And they perfect it. So sometimes that kind of perfecting it comes from they've done it several times. I don't mind doing something at a conference that of people that don't look like me, because I feel like sometimes if I can sell it to them, I can sell it to family. I can go to HBCU Band Directors Consortium, and they're gonna receive it. Because they trust the face speaking, and they know that I'm not speaking from a lack of no. Not saying that every time they look like you, they know, because all skin folk ain't kinfolk. But when it comes to presentation, you got to have a sponsor. You better have practiced it. You better know your market that you're speaking to, and you better have that thing thorough and networked enough that people going to continue to say something about how you present, or you just speaking in the wind.
Okay, so speaking of your presentation, this is how we first came to know of Krystal. First of all, presentation, well, just the education setting, in the 21st century is all about everything revolving technology in any classroom, music being no exception. And when I say that presentation, you enlighten us on so many different programs. It was just so relevant, and you feel the space geniusly. So yeah, just wanted to say that before we skip along. Yeah, I really enjoyed that presentation. I saw you at the HBCU awards, and I instantly was like, there's that girl who presented on technology for us. Let me go over and say hello.
I gotta look at this comment. Ron is eating up the chat. First of all, thank you, because first of all, if y'all don't know, I had to present for Birmingham, Alabama. I got an email. I did one presentation for the Alabama Arts Alliance. I got another email about 2 weeks later. It was like, we need somebody to do PD. But then that junk was 8 hours. How many of y'all can, first of all, people can't even pay attention for 8 hours, let alone speak for 8 hours. That was a long haul. It was a full day of work from a Zoom screen. That's hard. So if you want to present, I admonish people, if you want to be a presenter, you're going to have to practice that craft, and you're going to have to be able to win a room, whether it's from a Zoom box or, a bunch of people you don't know, because that's what it means. Ron said, please don't be one of those people who does 4 presentations at the same conference. Ooh.
Why? Why, Ron?
I'm gonna play devil's advocate. I used to hate PD. Because I would be sitting in PD like, first of all, I don't even have that instrument in my room. Why are you talking about this stuff that I don't have a budget for that. Relevance. So yeah. So Black professionals, we got presenters. Let's talk about performers. How do you get in? Because that was a hot topic. People are salty, and they have a right to be salty if Tennessee State was the first. And it is the year of our Lord 2022 for another 24 hours. Is that space accessible for performing ensembles?
I think your reputation precedes you. Like whatever your audition submission tape is, I would assume it needs to be approved. Having younger ensembles perform, though,
it's still it's an application process for all that stuff. I would assume for the younger ensembles, like the middle school and high school bands, you still have to send in videos, and it's probably something to do with whatever their band director does, kind of their reputation and stuff. But it seems like, and I was looking on the website, everything is like an extensive, almost like application process for everything. Performing, being a clinician, setting up booths, everything. You got to go through all this red tape.
And then being real, sometimes it is about who you know.
Yeah.
We gotta throw that part up in there.
Oh yeah. And then like what Krystal was saying, I was looking at, I guess, for presenters, like the clinicians, along with, doing your application and practicing your stuff and having stuff ready. It was saying you have to have like 3 almost like references, like 3 people that gotta they have seen you perform. It was saying you have to have them I guess submit something, I guess, saying, I guess, that your stuff is good enough, to be included or whatever. So it seems like a lot of it is who and that type of thing for everything.
And it's real. But that's like the real world in general, whether you're Black or white. I just think that when it's a white space, it is that much harder if you are BIPOC to get in and to be trusted at the same level. But there are so many ensembles that should have been there just eons ago. We could just go ahead and we don't have the FAMUans up here from the panel today because they ready. But FAMU should have been on the docket.
Have they applied though? Have they applied?
I guess we don't know. I guess this might be one of those questions where, somebody from FAMU anybody in the chat, anybody, know, ask the World Wide Web, ask Black Twitter. Because it could be that they've never applied, but I kind of doubt it. And I think sometimes when we don't see ourselves represented, we just don't bother. And I think a lot of that is, I'm just not going to bother. I'm not going to bother because you're going to say no anyway. So we don't, I guess we don't know, but the application processes, I don't want to say they're difficult, but you have to have a record of what you've done. It's not just good enough that you won some trophies at a band battle, right? That's not good enough. Like, are you getting superior ratings at your MPAs or UIL? I'm sorry.
Oh no, I'm sorry. You hit on something.
Are your kids going to solo ensemble? That's because that's the litmus test that they rated against. And unfortunately, we have not created our own platform in a way that we have brought a lot of validity to what we do in paper. I'm not going to say like we show up and we see the thousands of us at Honda and we see the thousands of us at these things. But if we're honest, they still think that's just us shucking and jiving. I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. Like, I'm not saying that it's wrong for us to have our own culture and our own take on what it is that we do. But I just don't think we have learned how to document what we do well.
A lot of it it's very political. And one thing about us, we don't like to get into politics. We want to do it, because of the kids. But you have to learn, like work in the room, like marketing, you have to learn how to be a politician as well. And that goes back into who you know, what you know. Like you have to do things, like you say, you have to do things on the local level first. You have to do all county. You have students that make all county, all district, all state. And it's so much politics around it that a lot of our groups don't do it because, it was designed for another group. So it wasn't designed for us. So, they wonder, well, why do it anyway? Also, we have a friend here and he went to FAMU. He marched for FAMU.
One that was eating chips in my ear.
Yes. The three of us in the same place, y'all. He was spending knowledge as to why FAMU didn't do it. Like Dr. Foster was on the board.
Dr. Foster was a founding member of the CBDNA.
Yeah. I don't know if y'all heard it. He was a founding member of CBDNA. A lot of the influence from the things that happened in Midwest, and even like the Macy's parade, like FAMU has never been to Macy's, but the band staff actually ran the McDonald's All-American band. So even though they weren't a part of it, they still had the influence. So that's another thing. And he probably decided not to. And I feel like, schools like FAMU could have very well been, a presented band, but they didn't because they actually had influence on some of the processes. So I thought that was interesting. I thought I'd share, he could get on his phone and join us on the video, but it's okay. Because
influence is such a key factor.
And
money, influence,
yes.
Connections. Like if we put your band on stage, how many people have heard of you? How many people are going to be actually interested in coming to see you perform? Obviously, it's all about how well you perform, but I think, how much interest is rooted in your group. I think that's extremely important as well. And FAMU has been on fire. So is TSU. So.
But their marketing is genius. They're doing those type of gigs that it's that kind of crossover mentality. When you doing a gig for Louis Vuitton, the world saw you, not just your town or this battle of the bands. Like the world saw you, and that brings influence. But the money thing, I kind of wanted to hit on that because there's I was talking to one of the band media people, Justin Patterson. He normally supports like all of the podcasts we do. So I got to shout him out for that. He really does. Like if you put a challenge in front of him, he actually does it. And he's not a band director. And Justin was like, one thing he took back, he said, I see so many kids that don't look like us there. They're just there. Whether they're performing, a lot of them are performing. Like it's not just about college. It's high schools and middle school, bucket band, percussion ensembles perform. It's a lot of kids that are there. Like you see them in that band director and they, around in that concert attire and stuff. And he said, we got to find a way to get our kids there. And that's something that's a real issue is if we're not in the room, my kids sure as hell aren't. And if our kids aren't in the room, they're not getting those step up nuggets to be able to be the people who are at the table from the start. And he was like, well, it costs a lot. He said $200 to sponsor a kid. I said, Justin, it's not $200. We're not going to talk about transportation. We'll put that in his pocket. But just to get a ticket in, I think it's $25 for students. It's $25. People spend $25 at McDonald's now. Ugh. But they do. And so $25 per kid, if you got a band of 50, because usually those ensembles about 50 kids, you got a fundraiser. But those schools have budgets. Those schools are able to get sponsorships, or sometimes those type of schools have like $100,000 in their band budget a year, $1 million budget, especially some of those schools in Texas. And a lot of times we don't even have enough money to buy reeds for real in our classroom. So it just seems very far-fetched to be able to get kids there, but they need to be there because those kids there, they're networking at a younger age. They're in the eye of band directors. Laura said she put this comment, Title I can pay for it. But here's my only pushback sometimes. We find the money for some of the onlyest things though. Like we find the money for the onlyest things. I'm not gonna say that it's bad. Exposure is exposure, but sometimes I had to learn this the first time I moved my band out of the state. And I didn't move them far. We went to Delaware. Delaware from Maryland is about a 45-minute drive, just across the state. So it was only about a 2-hour bus drive. But then charter buses at that time, we have to take a charter bus if we go more than 50 miles. That's what our school district requires. One bus was $1,600 for 45 minutes away. I had to get 2 buses, so that was $3,200. If you feed 80 kids, you feed 80 kids at Old Country Kitchen, Buffet, Cracker Barrel, whatever you go to get delicious bread. That was about $1,000 bill, easy. So we're already at $5,000. Guess what my budget was for the year at this school? $5,000 for the year was my budget, which meant I basically had to say I can't get nothing repaired for this one trip. That means that we can't go nowhere else. That means that if we have a game or something, I can't buy spats. I can't buy t-shirts for kids who can't afford it. I can't do nothing for this one trip. So when people used to say, why don't you travel more? I'm like, do you know how much it costs just for one day? We're not even going to talk about a hotel. $5,000 for a day trip less than an hour away.
Well, that's where fundraising comes in.
We find the money.
Fundraising. Title I won't cover food. You know what? Sometimes though, just charging a small fee helps out. Even if we're at a Title I school, I think it ensures commitment, because sometimes you can pay for kids to go to different festivals and you pay the admission fee. And if they decide, the morning of, they just don't feel like going, they want to stay home and play PlayStation, if they didn't pay anything, then there's no, nothing tying them to this performance. So maybe charging a small amount, fundraising, then there, grants, but it's definitely tough taking out of state trips.
We have a collective, like there's a collective wealth of information of those of us who've gone to various conferences or just know organizations that donate stuff. And so when I was having that conversation, I was like, Justin, there's a grant for that. I'm like, Justin, there's this, but you know where you find out that information? At conferences that we don't attend. And that's the sad reality. I'm not showing up because they don't listen to us, but then you show up and you find out that's where they're getting the money. That's how easy it is. And then you kind of look like it's kind of just playing devil's advocate. We can no longer just sit back and be like, we don't have it. Like, we just can't, in my opinion, we can't say we don't have it, because I've seen people come up with a lot Lauren, you're muted, but if you got something to add, come on with it.
Look, no, I was just saying we have it for everything else. Why not this? Because it's investing in your future. It's not, it's not fun. I think a lesson that has to be taught is this is not always fun. It's not supposed to be fun, but it helps in the long run. It truly does. But then there's so many issues with, mentality. It's a mentality issue. And that's with certain band directors themselves. I'm not going to say all, because I feel like I'm preaching to the choir. And I say alto, not soprano. I can't do it. I'm preaching to the choir. It's mentality with certain band directors. Is a mentality of parents, and when the parents have that mentality, whatever the mentality is, the student is going to have it. So there's a lot of it's very layered. Like it's a very layered conversation. We could talk about one thing that leads to another. It's very layered. It's very loaded. It's very sensitive. But yeah, I agree. Like, I don't like when people say they don't have it because y'all have it for other things. Why not have it for your child's future, or why not have it, for the program that they're in? Taking it outside of band, you do it for their football team, their little league football team. 9 times out of 10, they're not making it to the pros. They're not going to make it. They're not making it. So why not invest in your music program? That's all I got to say.
A word that stood out, a key word that stood out that you said was mentality. And it definitely emphasizes this statement, the statement made in the chat. Until band directors realize that their students need professional development just like they do, it is important to at the very least, take their student leaders to the state conference to attend. That statement can't be emphasized enough, because I think the mentality starts, at the grassroots level. When you are just starting out in band, when you're, wait, did I hear something?
I'm sorry. I didn't know it was going to do that. This is a reaction to, but I didn't know you can hear it.
All good. No worries. But yeah, that statement rings so truly, because it starts as, children, and it carries on with them, the mindset to network, the mindset to fundraise, the mindset to go get it and not wait for somebody to give it to me. I think that's so important. So key word for me, mentality, mindset, that statement, taking student leaders to conferences. Oh yeah, I think it helps build leadership in your program as well. So what they're going to learn, they're bringing back to their peers, and they can share and teach that information in ways that we can't, because we don't connect with kids the way kids connect with kids. So.
Ooh, Rolanda, you got any last thoughts before we go to the next question? I knew this was going to be a juicy one. This question, I said this was going to be.
Well, I know when Lauren was talking about like parents and all this other stuff, that's how I was over here like, oh, she hitting on it. I ain't gonna go to that though, but yeah, definitely, I do agree. We tend to find money for the things that we want to do and care about. So we just have to, ingrain that in our kids. That this is important too, and just like you can find money for that other stuff you want. You got to work to, let's raise this money for this too, because this is just as important. But yeah, I agree with everything everybody said.
They got them dunks on.
Listen, I was gonna say they find money for them Jordans and that PST5, or is it PST5?
I got some dunks, but they were for a special occasion. Special occasion, and the kids ain't got no jobs. Like, who's buying them? But that's a whole nother, we're not going to tabernacle on that, because sometimes people, they feel like, well, are we saying Black people can't have nice stuff? No, but we just saying, like, my parents told me if I wanted lessons, I had to pay for them. if you really want to do this. And guess what?
And look, and Krystal, I'm telling you, ladies, my mom made me play oboe. That's my first instrument. So, Miss Rolanda, if you want some tips on oboe, I got you. But anyway, she made me play oboe because her and my elementary school band director, they went to high school together. They were like, oh, we could put Lauren on oboe so she could get scholarships for college or whatever. But the thing is, she was not willing to pay for private lessons. Now that is an instrument you absolutely, you need lessons on. Unless you're absolute virtuoso. I need to research if there are any virtuosos on oboe, but that's just not an instrument you become a virtuoso on. You're a virtuoso on piano. Oboe, I don't know. But I think the idea is, and it's the mentality, you know, of our people. You know, I had to figure it out, so you can figure it out too. It was unfair to me because eventually it led me. I wanted to switch to clarinet. Clarinet was easier, and I was a better clarinet player. And whereas, you know, maybe if I would have developed more of a love of an oboe if I had private lessons, but my mom was like, "No, I don't want to spend money on lessons for you. You know, you got this." So there's that mentality, and that's something I dealt with on a personal level, just like Krystal did.
All in favor for a mentality show, a mindset and mentality behind music education, because it's that word keep coming up. Go ahead, Rolanda.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it's the mentality, but I think also, and I don't want to get no flack for saying this, but I think that being at, you know, these Title I schools and stuff, I don't know if it's that, you know, I guess they're used to getting everything for free and getting everything given to them. It's like when it comes time to, you know, pay a band fee, well, $25-$30, or, you know, pay for this subscription for whatever. I don't know about anybody else's, but I get a bunch of pushback about paying for like simple things. And it's like, we at this Title I school, you're getting all these other things for free, and they don't. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but anyway, I put it out there.
No, you should.
No, we can say it because we live it. Like there's some validity to.
I'm mute you something, Taylor, because like it creates accountability. I agree with you. It creates accountability, and
Kayla is coming off in silence. Your face is
she's going off.
Oh, wait, I thought I was off mute. I didn't even realize I was on mute. I was saying no, Rolanda.
That finger was like this.
I think I was going somewhere.
Listen, because she really,
it was like, yes, that's what it is, that mentality that you just think you just supposed to get everything for free. And just like, I mean, you at this Title I school and y'all paying for these J's or y'all paying for everything else, you could pay $30-$50 for this band fee to help us get or you can, you know, pay this little $15 for this subscription so it help you with your education, or you can, you know, give a little bit, invest in your education and your future. Anyway,
baby,
I'm sorry.
So let me tell you how entitled my students are. So growing up, like I started out on clarinet, right? Just a little background. I taught myself to play my best friend's flute, and I begged my band director to please let me play flute. Like I wanted to play flute, and he was just like, "We have enough flute players, but you can play oboe. Like we don't have an oboist." And so that was the beginning of oboe. However, let me go back to reeds cost $1. You learn to be responsible with your reed because you knew if you didn't have $1, you got to play on this broke up reed, and are you gonna have a little charge build up? Like you had to pay for that reed. So I have one little girl who comes to me, like at one point she was coming like every 3 days. Miss Moore, I broke my reed. I said, I'm gonna have to start, you know, we're the Title I school. So I'm just like, the reeds I purchased through Title I, or either the Fine Arts Department gave them to us. However, like, I need to teach you some accountability here. Like, I'm not about to, like, you're taking for granted that you guys get reeds for free. And I was just telling her, I was like, listen, it's about to start impacting your grade. If, like now I write every kid's name down. Anytime I give out a read, I write their name and the date. If you're coming back to me too frequently and you're not paying for these reads, when you don't receive a read, it's going to impact your grade. So that's another place that we could kind of.
Let's talk about this accountability just a little bit, because it seems like it's a little spicy. We value what we value. And let's just go ahead and throw it out there. Music education, Lord, I turned off the camera. Damn. Music education isn't valued. Let's just go ahead and say it. It's not valued across the board in all communities. It's not valued by the people at the top, and it trickles down to the little cupcake in your room who feels like, I lost my read, I dropped my read 7 times. I'd be like, you better wash that thing off, cut it out. You better hold on to it like it's that phone, because they value that. But here's the problem. Where do we learn how to value something? We're taught values. And so they can't value it because they haven't been taught to value. You the crazy lady. I was always the crazy lady. The crazy lady is saying, do this. And nobody else is saying, do that. So I'm the crazy lady in Baltimore City schools. I'm the crazy band director that's saying your child needs lessons. I'm the crazy band director that's saying, promise you, they'll get a scholarship in band before they'll get in modeling. And see, I was at an all-girls school, and I used to have to say to parents, oh, she wants the model club. I'd be like, her knees don't bend when she walk. Her knees don't bend when she slides her feet across this floor. I can hear her before I see her. You might not want to invest $500 to be a part of this club, but I promise you, if she plays tuba and she is at least decent, you might not have to pay tuition. And she doesn't have to be a music major, and they don't have to be the greatest, but values are taught. And from the top down, we don't teach values of education, and sure as hell not music education, but we value that test, daddy, though. That's what I'm gonna say. We value that state test, boy. You want to see a kid pay attention? Tell them that it's state test day. Kids show up unless they just don't care, which is actually not that.
What kids show up?
See, I taught at one of those schools that it was the top school in the district in Baltimore. In the poor community, it's still, the kids came from all over. And when it was time for tests, you did. I'm like, where's that at? Were you in my class? And I'm like, sit down. Stop doing that. Stop touching that. Have some self-control. But they got self-control for a 2-hour test sometimes. We got to move on to this next question, because we could tabernacle. Seats at the table with a lot of politics. Because sometimes it's not that they don't let you sit at the table, they just don't let you say anything. And I have been in that room a lot lately, where you are sitting at the table and you can't vote. You're an appointed position. You don't quite, you're outnumbered. That's the new one. Outnumbered. You're the token on the team, and you say something oppositional and everybody votes against it. And you're like, well, damn, why am I here? So that's that. If you want to perform at Midwest, apply and make sure you got a lot of documentation and a lot of variety of documentation, and make sure that you have sponsors to back up who you claim you are. With that being said, we got this question here. Are some Black music professionals just attending for clout? Are they just there to be seen with the who's who, with this composer, with that band, with, Mr. Junkin and all the clout.
Even if somebody is there for clout, I think they should be applauded, number one, for being there. And then it still goes into branding. You know what I mean? So the point for me is they're there and they're bringing something to the space and they're getting something from the space. So, like I said, I get a lot from networking and connecting with other professionals while I'm there. That might be, something they want to withdraw or bring back from the experience, so I just don't think, I feel like if you're attending, whatever your motives are, I can't see anything wrong with that. I mean, not to say that's what I'm doing, because when I'm there, I mean, I pretty much, like, I'm going and meeting people, but it's not about that for me. However, the person who it is, you never know, like that cloud and that connecting, you don't know who you might meet through that relationship. So I think it's important, whatever the nature of the relationship, whatever it's rooted in, as long as you're there, I think it's important and you're relevant and it matters.
Rolanda, what you got?
Oh, I thought we kind of had answered this one already. I mean, yeah, sure. I'm sure there are some. I mean, but I guess like Kelly said, if that's what, you're doing to, network and talk to people, then, kudos to you.
I'm going to start some trouble with this one. I am fine with whatever reason you decide to go. Just don't come and stir the pot over here. And be honest about your ish. Be honest. Like, don't be anti something when you already have a different motive anyway. Like, don't be concerned about presentations if you're not going. What does it matter to you? Like, what does it matter? You paid money and you complaining about a presentation you didn't even go see. You complaining about groups that you ain't even listened to. Like, that to me doesn't make sense. I don't care if you there to put on a suit and a tie. I don't care if you putting on your Sunday's best. I don't care if you just want to sit on the floor and play your horn and show off. Because my husband came and he's not a band director. He's a musician though. He just wanted to play with all the toys. I don't care. And I'm sure he had moments of showing off on trombone, but I don't care. But guess what he's not doing? He's not now sitting in a meeting. Yep, I'm a tabernacle here. Sitting in a meeting, stirring a pot when you ain't going to be at the next meeting. You ain't going to be in the room when it's time to vote. You're not even going to be amongst the number. So why? I don't care about whether you there for clout, because like Michaela said, it's networking to me. And guess what? It's networking to me because I said before the pandemic, I want to be a clinician. I had been doing it for my district. I had been doing it in my state. And I said, you know what? I find more joy teaching others how to do what I've struggled through. And that's for me. And that does mean I need to be in the room with other people so they can say, pick Krystal for a presentation. Pick her for Birmingham, Alabama schools. Pick her to speak at this conference. Pick her. And if someone thinks that's clout chasing, nobody, that's like I think about Prime, Coach Prime. A lot of people got a problem with him leaving, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, he's a businessman. He's not an athlete anymore. He's a businessman. You're going to go where your business can be supported the best. And so I really don't care about the clout argument. I've heard some people talk the clout argument and then in the same vein be doing the same stuff. I don't care what your motive is. Just don't be in the room stirring the damn pot or what I call coaching from the sideline. Don't be coaching from the sideline if you're never going to get on the field. If you're not going to get on the floor and tackle people and catch the ball and run it. If you're never going to get hit, don't be, I think this is, I think this is, you know, blah, blah, blah. Have you ever been? You ever been? Ever been to one? One? Two?
You can't hate from outside the club.
There you go. we need that joint to be recorded. Jay, if you with us, get that joint on tape. You can't hate from outside the club. So if you are in the club, be in the club. Otherwise, be quiet, let people meet people, greet people, rub elbows with people. To me, Midwest at some point sometimes felt like homecoming. I took pictures with people I ain't never met before. Like, I got to take a picture with you because the pandemic happened and I met you virtually. I want to be in a picture with you so I remember this moment. It is like homecoming. Nobody goes to homecoming and talk about why y'all taking all these pictures, why you not watching the game. Because damn it, part of the experience is being amongst other like-minded individuals. It's not a conference about basket weaving. It's band directors like to talk to each other. They like to be around each other. They like to brag. They like to shoot the shit. All those things happen, and we don't criticize it when it's sports. We got a lot of people who are sports, gurus who ain't never been on a field. And we don't be like, if you don't be quiet, you ain't never tackled nothing but a sandwich. I don't know. I just, that clout thing, I don't care. Just don't stir the pot from outside. Don't hate from outside the club. That's all I'm saying. Anybody else? I ran my mouth.
Speaking of photos, I wish we could pull up the photo we took. That was a nice pic. Oh, you're muted.
If y'all run your mouth a little bit, I'm playing with features on it. This is my first time using this platform tonight. But yeah, I can share it. Yeah, just go ahead and talk a little bit. I got you. Mm-hmm.
I was just like, ew, look at all this melanin and all these female band directors. Ew. So Laura, you were at Midwest this year?
Last year. I didn't go this year.
Okay. I wonder what's the thing with clout? Like, why do people, I can recall a guy saying a long time ago, this white guy, I remember him saying, you see all these guys walking around with suits? Like, I could wear a suit too. Like, I just didn't want to wear a suit. Like, they walk around like they're so important wearing suits. And I remember thinking, why are you bothered like that? They got on suits. But I think, like, hearing you ask that question, and like Rolanda said, like, it was touched on a little earlier, it just kind of makes me like, so I guess there really are people out here who just go for clout. I can't imagine what kind of clout you're really able to claim if you're just there taking pictures and talking to people. Now, if you're up on the stage presenting and you have your program, like your band is there, and they're doing an excellent performance, I guess you got the right to have a little clout, bragging moment or whatever. But how much clout are these people getting just walking around talking to folks? I don't know. Maybe I missed something.
First of all, usually, like, if you're not talking to, most of the time people already know people. Like, you already know them. It's not like a new meeting most of the time. And sometimes you get invited in a room. I call it the boom boom room. Because the Consumer Suite be on and popping. I ain't even gonna lie. It be on and popping. I definitely want to be in the boom boom room because that's high quality liquor. High quality. And they gave the suite to the Black Women Band Director Association for like to have a meet and greet. And I don't think anybody in that room was like, nah, I ain't going to Consumer Suite. Why not? Why not? You might, listen, for real, you might get a free instrument or a discount, or there might be the right person in the room that can help out your program, and you just sitting there like, I ain't trying to have no clout. I'm gonna get mine from the mud. Listen, I'm from the mud. The mud is dirty. I'm tired of rolling around in the mud to get everything. I'm a hood kid, and I always find it funny when people talk about hood kids and what they need and blah, blah, blah. They need connects sometimes. They need the right person to show up to their school and renovate their band room. They need that sometimes. They need the Oprah, the Ellen, the whoever to show up and bless them. And I don't know. It doesn't matter that much.
You know what I find? I know there are trombone players behind me talking about trombone stuff. But anyway, what I find, the older I get, the more I realize a lot of people, they got to certain positions the same way. They got help. They got the connects. Not everybody, actually, most people didn't get it from the mud. They got the same connections and they did network. That's what networking is all about. It's not clout. It's not about clout chasing. I feel like clout is like a little star you get on your chest saying, yay, I did this. It's not just about that, but it's what you do with that star, with those connections. Then at that point, it's not clout. It's networking and it's building your brand and building yourself. But from what I've seen, a lot of people, they've received help. They've gone to clinics. They've paid for classes. They got just like people are saying, degrees are just a piece of paper. And I know, they're like, college is nothing, college. But you need to be at a certain level of expertise to get to a certain goal. And the way to get that goal is to talk to other people of that same expertise. I'm in, to answer this question, some Black musical professionals just intended for the clout. My answer is mind the business that pays you, because they're minding the business that pays them. And which is going to Midwest Conference to make their careers and to make their students better, or to make themselves better, because I'm not a band director. I teach private lessons. It makes me better as an educator, as a music educator, also a future arts administrator, because that's something else I like to pursue. So, to that question, I just say mind the business that pays you. And it's not paying you. It's not the people that are clout chasers. It's the people that are calling out the supposed clout chasers that are active, that act that way. Mind the business that pays you, because calling people out certainly doesn't pay you.
Right. You never know what they benefit from that clout chasing. Somebody might be coming to their band room because they saw, you with Dr. whomever. So
that's true. I'm telling you, like, my program didn't start to get a chance in hell as far as resources outside of my credit card was when I started going live teaching. Yeah, and I didn't think anything was gonna come of it at all. But then, like, I put up a fundraiser to get some instruments. That thing got funded in 2 days. I was like, what? You mean to tell me I'm maxing out a credit card when I could just put it out there a little bit, like good or bad, just, hey, check this out. And it got funded. And that was when I started to see more resources come in my band room. I did have that mentality. I just need to close my door and teach good. Yeah, but the Bible says nobody listens to a poor man, but they're not really. Poor is like mistranslated. It's no one listens to somebody without influence. And even Jesus, I know I'm about to preach, even Jesus's disciples all had influence. They were businessmen, they were fishermen, they were people that people knew. And I'm not saying that that's the only reason you should ever do anything in life, because sometimes work just has to be done and you don't need anybody around you to get it done. But
the disciples gave Jesus validity. That's all I have.
Ooh, Lord, we about to pass it. Where to play that? We need a collection plate. Before I go to the next question, I'm gonna see if this worked. Here's a picture. Here we go. Did it work? Did it work? Did it work? Can the people see the picture? Yay! Look, y'all, I did it. That was the HBCU GOAT Awards, and there was a lot of hoopla about that. But I don't care about the awards as much as first of all, none of us got one, but I was just like, oh, there I met Michaela. Found out that my SAI sister knows her because she's an SAI sister, and it was like network. Now we here. It's just to me that picture says this is what happens when you're in the room. You meet people that are like-minded. You meet people you can vibe with. You have similar experiences. That's not a clout picture. That's a, hey, look, Jennifer Thalacker says, we see you, sis. That was a moment for me. Like, I see you, sis. I see you. Okay. You doing what you doing. And then I read some of y'all bios. I was like, damn, I see you. That's not clout. We don't clap enough for each other because we don't like to be in the same room together sometimes. So that's my little, there's a picture. Ooh, what's another picture?
I love that picture. So first of all, I just been talking and I'm on mute. I love, can you send me that one? That's not even the one I have.
No, I can send you this
picture.
This picture
So Dr. Pam on the end, she received an award. You were nominated, which still says just so much about your work ethic and your influence within, in and of itself. So congratulations on that. But yeah, this picture is ew.
See, I was able to do it. I like this this new platform for that. Because I mean, they said, first of all, the man behind the scenes, my dear friend who put a sister on networking, he said, yeah, you can share your screen and stuff. I was like, what? He was like, you always could, but I didn't know that. So now I know it. But that's just a beautiful picture. And people don't think that Black women can get together already. So that picture just puts out a way different narrative. Like, even it's just people already don't believe that we can sit in a room together as women. So just my 2 cents, on it. Just 2 cents. Michaela got bumped out. I don't know what happened to her. I am going to put this other question because we got about 7 minutes. I'm gonna try to do this in 7 minutes, y'all. Is there division from the Black delegation at these conferences? I feel like Lauren, you about to pull the trigger? Pull the trigger. Pull the trigger.
So the question is, for my audience that's here in the room, is there division from the Black delegation at these conferences? Quietly, you have things like HBCUs versus non-HBCUs. You have things, and some of these are made up on the internet too, like, MEAC versus SWAC. You have things like, FAMU versus everybody. No, let me stop. No, but seriously, I would say there is a division from the Black delegation in general, because there are those that will go to the conference. There are those that are willing to go to the conference, and then there are those that think that, going back to the last issue, it's clout chasing. Why should I go to a conference? I'm doing the work. I'm doing this, that, and the third. Why should I go to a conference that tells me what to do in my job? So there is that big division. And I feel like, the Black delegation needs to come together. Like, okay, so if you don't like this conference, what can we do to start our own conference? Well, shoot, there's already one. It's called the HBCU Band Directors Consortium, which is at the end of March. The president is Dr. Tamisha Brock, and the vice president is Dr. Magruder, the band director at Winston-Salem State University. So if you want to get in contact with them, you can find Dr. Brock on Facebook. You can email. I'm sure you can get Dr. Magruder's email from Winston-Salem's website. So there is a conference for that. So if you feel as such, I would say go to the HBCU Band Directors Consortium. So you can get what you can get from, what you feel like you get from your people. Thank you for posting the dates. Yeah, or also there could be another platform made. It doesn't have to be just one thing. Like there's so many organizations. And from Krystal, I just learned about the Sphinx organization. This is something I wish I would have known in high school. Again, my good friend here said something about students doing professional development, which is something I would have liked to have done in high school. This Sphinx organization that helps minority children with being performers and in music and you know all the things that they need to do. They have access to grants and resources and fellowships. My thing is, if there's a division, there is a division. We really need to come together quick and see what solutions are there. And I mentioned those organizations because the solutions are out there already. There are people trying to do the work. You just have to stop complaining.
And that division, one, thank you, Lauren, first of all, for dropping that. I gotta put Michaela back in there. I see you, sis. I see you down there in the corner. I put those dates in there, but thank you, Lauren, for mentioning that, because sometimes in division, we don't share information. And because we are divided, we get gatekeeping of information that's important for the whole. Like if you don't know Sphinx Connect or the Sphinx organization gives instruments to students who need it. And that application process is actually way easier than Midwest. And these organizations like the consortium, they are looking for high schools sometimes to perform and can't get a high school locally to come perform in front of an audience of their own peers, because I ain't going to that. I ain't going to that. There's nothing perfect about any of this. There isn't. Because as soon as you try to put a bunch of people together, then you are asking for problems. But it just behooves me, like, we'll say, yeah, there's division amongst us. But what happens is I watch other groups sometimes that they will argue in private. And we are really good at arguing publicly sometimes at the wrong time. Like, smile and nod and duke it out just like family. Black family, like go to a cookout, say hi to everybody. And, it don't have to be doing the toast or whatever. You don't have to like air out all your grievances like we about to do tonight in about T-minus 10 minutes. But how can we get anywhere if we can't like just at least agree on some basics? There's some basics I think we can agree on. We can agree that music education is underfunded, especially when it comes to us. We can agree that like there's some things we can agree on. That get in where you fit in is real important. I think it'll be real important for us to thrive, not just survive in music education and create the next ones. Get in where, what is your expertise? That's your expertise. Go do that. If band media is your expertise, go do that. If you know how to start babies on horns really well, go do that. If you know how to get the money, go do that. And share it. Like I think sometimes we just be trying to be in each other's lanes too much. And then I think that just heightens that division. That's my opinion. Anybody got something else to say about it? Kayla, you trying to unmute again?
I agree with people staying in your lane. I think we need to lift people up when their lane is maybe something we're not astute in. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes our egos get in the way. Just acknowledging, hey, this isn't my wheelhouse. What can I do to learn from you? And not being crabs in the barrel. Like, you have good information. Why can't you share it? You know what I'm saying? I totally agree.
Rolanda?
Oh yeah, I mean, same. I think we all have our different things that we're good at, and I guess like Kayla was saying, not letting your ego get in the way, but finding people that you work well with and y'all share ideas and share resources, and y'all be a team and make it work for everybody.
Elephant in the room. I don't think the sisters on the screen got as much of a problem with that as the people with phalluses. I'm just going to say the nice way. That was the nice way. It becomes a phallus swinging contest, and I don't have one. I always say it. I don't have one, so I can't swing it. We watch it happen across the room. We watch it. It's like a game of tennis sometimes, especially some of those meetings, and you be like, ting, ting, back and forth, just swinging at each other when you should be swinging at something else, something that's causing more harm to the collective than. So I'm starting to learn, and this is me trying to be better about people. I'm starting to learn not to care about somebody wanting to crank up. Don't care. If that's
Somebody wanting to do what?
Crank up, because we hit a marching band delegation talk about that those kids aren't really learning how to play well, and this, you know what? If they got kids in a band at this point, it's not my band. It's not my band. Whatever. I always just challenge people to try not to limit kids, because what we do or don't teach them, they'll bear the brunt of it in their adult life. And I just never want a kid to come back to me and like, why did you tell me this? You knew there was a conference that has scholarships for students and can give us instruments, and you just didn't show up. Why? Like, I don't care about what adults think about me, but I really care about what a student that's been in my classroom will think, because I can't sit in the same room with somebody I don't like. And let me tell you right now, I sit in rooms all the time with people I don't really like. I don't care as much as I need resources for my students in my classroom. I don't care that much. Like, me liking you, I feel like that the movie Fences, I don't have to like you. I don't have to like you. But if it comes to me and my kids and what I need from them, I can sit there long enough to get information from anything. Like, it's just, but we don't have phalluses. That's a phallus problem. That's a phallus problem. Y'all don't invite us to the table in the first place. We just showed up yesterday, so y'all still don't even think we should be on the podium half the damn time unless we play a woodwind. So we go whoosah on that. That's my spiel. I'm sticking to it. Yes, there's division.
We make room for ourselves at the table because, yes, the invite is not always there.
Justin, who's Smash Time Productions, if you don't know. He said, LL, sometimes y'all be bigger than people who have one. Yeah, but we know how to at least get together and put our money together and get something done. I'm gonna shout out something. I don't know if anybody know, but the Association of Black Women Band Directors happened during the pandemic from Zoom calls, and we got a 503c in a year. Paid for and done. There was no argument about how much money it was going to cost. We didn't sit there and we didn't bicker about it. And then all of a sudden we had an organization. You want to know why? Because sometimes we know we all we got. And I just want more people to realize, like, we all we got sometimes. And if we ain't got each other, then what the hell we got? So yeah, we be wearing them on the inside, but we'll get something done still.
Hats off. I can also say, just meeting you guys at the HBCU Awards Night. I hope I'm saying that right. I keep saying HBCU Awards Nights. I've referenced it quite a few times because that's where we met in person. But when I met Dr. Pam, it was just so easy to talk about, like, I just walked over, introduced myself, talked about my 501c3. And she openly was just like, hey, what can we do? You know, let's collaborate. Hey, we want you guys to join the Black Band Directors, Female Band Directors Association. It was just seamless and effortless, you know, and it feels like a safe space to collaborate and glean information from. So yeah, I don't know. Who was this in the comments saying our egos be?
That's Justin. He said we better than some of them, but they'll be basically letting us in at the table. Justin is a supporter for real. I shout out that brother. We don't
clearly because he's here,
but he support, and that's what we talking about. Don't have to always agree, but damn it, you can support.
Exactly, and he's here, so hats off to you, Justin.
Justin, let me in front of one dance just one time. I don't even need to be there. Like, just let me pull an arrangement out one good time. I promise I got a fire arrangement. Y'all gonna see my arms flying around. I'm gonna be pulling down them jet planes like y'all be doing, because that's how they look. They be all like, I was like, did you need that for a crescendo? Hey, it looks good though. Whatever, you look intense. Oh, I'm running my mouth. That's
Listen, here's where I was intrigued. Speaking of arms flying around, when they call actual band directors up to, like, you know, they showed the footage before each band director was announced. I was like, I don't know. Like, I'm probably gonna get some flack from this. Drumline. I don't think I see HBCU band directors in person, like upstaging the dance girls the way well, not upstaging, but those band directors, like, literally, like, we're doing 8 counts. I was like, I mean, it was lit. It was really lit. But I was like, okay, how do I be missing that? Maybe because I had such conservative band directors. They was not lit like that.
They be looking lit. I just don't know if I want y'all to see my arm fat like that. Swinging.
Listen, them arms were flat. I got a story about arm fat when I was conducting. We
got me hungry and tired at this point because we have gotten way off. I got to show this last question because I suppose to have a Festivus, which is where I invite musicians to air out their grievances, and I'm sure they're driving Lauren nuts upstairs. They are. So, here's the last question. I don't know if I should ask this last question.
No, they give a good input though.
Because I think I'm not gonna ask that question. I think I'm gonna just throw this final thought daddy up there. Here we go. Final thoughts. Do you have any advice for anyone wanting to attend the Midwest Band and Orchestra? Let's not leave that out. Clinic. Any advice for somebody who ain't never been? What would you say to them? Encourage them? I don't know. What would you say? Final thoughts.
I would say come with an open mind. I heard someone say bring flats. You know, it's not a best dressed competition. You know, be comfortable yet professional, and have a mindset of having fun. Like, enjoy it so that you'll be encouraged to attend, you know, in the future. You might be shy, but don't be afraid to walk up to a stranger and have a conversation. You never know who you'll meet and what you can take away from that experience.
Open mind.
My advice, I would say go with somebody who's been before, or go with your people, because it was nice seeing people at Midwest that I knew. Yeah, I would say go with directors and musicians that you know, so you'll have a better time experience it. And especially go with somebody that's been. I know me and Krystal, we went for the first time last year, so it was fun, and we met some people that we knew. Like I said earlier, I would say talk less and listen more. Actually go up to people and speak to them, because it is a networking event. And I've gotten cards from Midwest. I've gotten cards. Like, people will give you their card, they'll give you their information. And yeah, just have a good time. exploring Chicago. It's like I said, it runs all day. So be ready to well, firstly, you can plan the clinics that you want to go to. You can put it in your calendar. So be intentional about the clinics that you go to, and the performances as well. Enjoy yourself at the performances. Take advantage of the showroom. You also get cards and information from the vendors that you may be interested in, and just have fun. It's like a big band geek convention. And as much as we don't want to show it, we're showing it. Like I'm a band nerd, and I love it. And like I said, my only regret is I haven't gone earlier. It makes you feel like, you learn what you don't know that you don't know what you didn't know type thing. So yeah, just have fun and enjoy yourself.
Rolanda, what you got for us?
I mean, I agree with Eric. I think that you should definitely go with an open mind, especially if you've never been. It's probably something different. But I kind of say, like I say to my kids when they're doing something different, just go with an open mind and go, willing to learn something new. If you can, look ahead and kind of see what stuff, sessions or whatever you'll be interested in. Go ahead and kind of browse through and see what they offer so you can kind of pick what you want to do. But like I said, if you have a partner or somebody with you, y'all can like divvy up the stuff and share information to get all that you can. Definitely go to the exhibits and stuff, like spend a lot of time there, go meet vendors and try to make those connects, and look at music and look at things that you can take back to your schools and stuff. And yeah, have a good time. Like it's you learn things, but it's also opportunity to kind of relax and recharge, and be I don't want to say re-inspired, but refill, fill your cup back up so you're ready to go back to work and feel, ready for, the work that you have to do. So definitely.
An imposter.
This is the infamous Justin. Justin got his hair wrapped up. You look like you about to go to bed. Is your hair wrapped up? Go ahead, lay them edges, boy. Lay them edges down for us. I'm picking with Justin. My dog. I actually have one that a lot of people might not think about, but we say it amongst each other. People who go to conferences, the best PD is at the bar. Is that just those moments when you sit down next to somebody. That's sometimes the best PD ever, because there's sometimes just sharing nuggets that just organic. Like it's just organic. Like it's not always about being in a session. Sometimes it's just about being in the right space at the right time with the right person next to you. And you might not know them. They may not look like you. They may be from somewhere else. But you start talking, you find out that you got similar struggles. You got similar things that you're trying to get done. You make those connects and boom, things can happen. That's that sharing of the information. And it's not being guarded. You just, like I said, closed mouths don't get fed. Well, I got to welcome Justin. Justin is always in the background somewhere. Justin be on that camera day, be making
Hi, Justin.
How y'all doing? What up?
Justin, like, yeah, we can hear you.
All right. Yeah. But the Midwest Conference was very interesting. I went for a bunch of reasons. One, I like to talk on the other side of things. Like, how you were saying is a swinging contest amongst the other band artists. Krystal, it is. And then what I meant in the chat, not the conference, but the situation. I was saying some of y'all don't have it, but y'all is bigger than theirs. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all just know a lot more information, and they don't give y'all a chance. You know what I'm saying? You watch it. Why does it have to be addressed as a female band director? Like, this can't be the band director of such and such. Like, I went in the session with Ms. Roebuck and them, and that was one of the most informative sessions out of them, everything I went to in the whole conference. You know what I'm saying? another one of the main reasons why I went to the contest because I hear lots of people talking about this conference almost as if this was like the most exclusive thing to go to, members only type deal. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't consider myself as a member. I'm gonna tell you why. So I went on purpose this year. So when I get there, this conference is nothing like what I thought it was. It's way more, and it's way more informative. It's way more like, damn, y'all didn't say this was going on at the conference. Y'all didn't say there's middle schoolers here. Y'all didn't say people bringing their high school students, and y'all not saying that. Now I'm asking the question like, damn, why y'all ain't bringing in y'all high school students? You know what I'm saying? Like, why y'all ain't bringing no members from y'all band? You know what I'm saying? One I won't name, but one of the most rude things I got asked was like, hey, what you doing here? Like, I'm cool enough to record your band, but I ain't cool enough to, like, fellowship amongst the professionals. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to speak on it, like, on live. If I would say something on Instagram Live, it went poster, but I refuse to, like, say it. But I'm like, damn. I'm
swinging right now. You swinging.
Yeah, you don't want to talk about it because, it's like, when videographers, smash time, you know what I'm saying? It's almost like, dang, like, that's the green I got? But I'm getting recognized from people who I probably would have never met in my lifetime that actually watch my videos from these PWIs, that from these, like, I took a picture with like 4 kids from a school that they wouldn't know what the HBCU was, probably them damn self, but they know my channel is, you know what I'm saying? So nevertheless, I just learned so much from that conference, and we'll be going back. Talk to a guy who was in the 8th grade, say he's been going for the last 5 years. Like, bro, you on in the 8th grade. Like, what you started this when you was like in grade? Like, yeah, band director, he's a violinist or whatever. Just talking to so many damn people. But if I had to give any advice to anybody to go, I would say look at things from a different lens. Like, how we always say we're underfunded as a Black community. I stayed there as a Black community. I learned, like, damn, these people got money, and it's different. You know what I'm saying? Like, the avenues that they're making for themselves and sharing the information with their peers, it's just ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Then you go in a showroom and you see so much of them that's showing us. Like, you see the Southern uniform. You know what I'm saying? You see the Alabama State uniform. You see Mr. Taylor on the damn software, whatever it is. But at the same time, it's like it was so much that I couldn't even take it in without being like shocked. Like, dang, this how they live on outside the world. I'm a crankologist. You know what I'm saying, Chris? I'm crank. But at the same time, I'm open to learning and appreciating other musicians first. You know what I'm saying? So just seeing that, I really think that people should go. I think that people should bring some of their students to the conference as well. And one of those, when it comes to that swinging contest, they don't tell you about how some people you really can't swing with. Like, some of the accomplishments, some of the people who walk around this conference just randomly, it's like, damn, you doing all this? Like, God dang, like, I wouldn't even know who you are. So that's my spiel on it, because I can really go in on like how I really feel about it. But it was a great conference. I will be going back next year, and I learned a lot. You know what I'm saying? As a camera, yeah.
I'm glad you came, Justin. And I think that's something we always talk about on Talk That Talk, is just being open to hearing a different perspective. Like, that's what the whole platform, that's what the whole kind of mission is just hearing different perspectives of things. Not saying it's right or wrong, it's just different. It's different, and you don't know that it's not bad unless you show up. Because if you just go off of sometimes what people say, and that's the truth about people, like, you go by what they said, and then you meet them and you're nothing like what they said.
The conference was nothing like they said. For example, too, I got worried about the award show, and I'm like, where is this award show on the itinerary of things? You know what I'm saying? That was my first question with it. I'm trying to be by the book. Like, if you look at the last question that's in the chat, y'all look at it, right? So I'm looking at, like, to the world back home, to us, they thinking that this thing was like, I ain't gonna say a part of it, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, I couldn't explain or answer that question right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a damn good question. Like, okay, like, who voted for that? You know what I'm saying? How was that? But I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? That they had something for us, by us. You know what I'm saying? But I was so surprised that the conference was more than I kept hearing about. And it was one of them things that I'm glad that I went for myself to see what it's about. And shouts out to FAMU and Tennessee State, both concert bands, for doing a phenomenal job. I gotta post more of the clips. I'm out here with Norfolk and Rose Bowl right now. But yeah, man, shouts out to both of them bands. They really held it down for the HBCUs, and I'm looking forward to seeing more HBCUs and Black high schools perform at this conference. I don't know how we gonna make that work, but we need to
We're
start
gonna
putting in
do it
some work.
because
Hey, Rose Bowl, I'm here.
we're gonna do it because we got, like if two shall agree, like if we can put together our resources in this type of way, it sponsor kids that, whether it's just section leaders, like even if it's your section leaders going, like that would be life-changing for some of those kids, especially ones who want to study music. Because the first time I heard about Midwest, I was already teaching. But at my university, at UMBC, it's mandatory for our music education majors to attend the state conference. They have to, it's part of their practicum. But that wasn't the case when I was in college myself at my HBCU, but it's mandatory at a lot of these schools for them to even like be a major. It's a part of their their internship. And those they're getting exposed to so many more resources. And we keep saying the name of the game is resources. They're just getting exposed to a network of resources that we just don't even have our paws on. In some cases. So let's do it, Justin.
I'm not even thinking about it. I have a question for y'all though. I know we have our which is Forest Bias, I guess, like the award show that they had, which is a great idea. But do y'all think they should have more things for geared towards HBCU at the Midwest Conference? I know we have our own conferences, like y'all just stated, but do y'all think that? Because I definitely think so.
Absolutely. I feel like if we're there, we need things that cater to us. And I think that sort of exposure also gives our counterparts more insight of, how HBCUs operate. I remember seeing a diversity session or a session for minority directors. And to my surprise, as I, approached the session, I, was expecting to see lots of minority, but no, it was a really diverse crowd there because they want to know just as much about HBCUs and us as well, you know what I'm saying? And so what better setting for them to get more education and information about HBCUs than Midwest?
Looking at it from my lens, I'm looking at like shit, our bands and our programs getting millions of views. You know what I'm saying? Half the bands that y'all talking about here, I can't find 2-3 YouTube videos on them. So I do think they should include more a day of events. You know what I'm saying? Geared towards HBCU and even learning like our style. And there's so many. I don't know how we go about asking, but it does need a lot of HBCU influence. Like they are like sessions geared towards at the Midwest Conference. I get we can start our own, but no, I feel like if y'all want to include us. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I would.
But see, there's already you did say, there's already another conference, but actually Consumer, they sponsor a meeting with for HBCU band directors and HBCU students. So that it's already a thing that's established at Midwest. So
I want to. Yeah, I'm saying more sessions.
We need more of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it starts with those of us who are in positions to make that type of change. We really have to be about it. Like, and I can understand it could be real easy. Like once you get where you've gotten it, and it's so hard to get there to not really think about bringing other people up. But I'll say shout out to Irv. He pulled everybody. If he's in the room, you in the room. Like, and we just need more. I just think we need more of that. We need more people saying, hey, all right, we here now. Who's going to sponsor this proposal? Who's going to sponsor this group? Who's going to put their name on the paper and say, we going to try to, we got to be the collective. That's all. We already are here because we obviously were there. It had to be about 100 people in a photo, and that wasn't even everybody. It was at least 100 Black band directors, musicians, professionals, whatever, in a picture. If those 100 people just get together, say, every year we're going to get together and we're going to sponsor one high school. Just one. And it changed every year. We're going to sponsor one region. of students. Like they might have to do an application, make it, because you can't always do it for everybody, but we can start small enough. It's enough of us in the room now. That's how I feel. We here now. People know who you are, Justin.
Also, you have to. I don't mind sponsoring a student or two. Just doing the math in my head, it's not that much. And then I hear you get a student discount if you're a student. But we also have to do a good job of explaining what Midwest is to make sure these kids get interested from hearing about it. So like, it's a good question. So like, I was not misled. I just thought Midwest was the conference that all the band directors go through, and I don't know what. But going there and seeing this, I'm like, kids ready to be here. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's really going on? Me walking down that breezeway to get through there, you should have just seen what was going through my head. I'm seeing like, what is this? I'm going to this class. I'm like a little nerd up and down. The first day of class, my little syllabus, trying to make sure I don't miss the class and stuff. And it was very eye-opening on so many levels, but we do need to get that information out there and share that if we do have a HBCU version of it, similar information, we need to make ours as big as that, if not bigger. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
And I'm gonna hold you to it because that Justin, when you ask, you normally mean it. Like you put your money where your mouth is every time. So with that being said, thank you, Justin, for joining us. Always let's eradicate that notion that Black men don't support Black women. That's not everybody. That's not everybody. Not all Black women are sitting there trying to take over the whole world and don't care about nobody else but us. Like, that's not true either. We need the whole kinfolk collective to win. Whoever got the ball, run that joint, and somebody else need to be blocking. That's the motto in my house.
The lady who put a horn in my hand was my first band director is a woman. It was the Jaggy Stevens, Asia Mohammed. Taught me how to read music, and I'm quite frank. Honestly, I had to tell my high school band director, I ain't really learned too much from you, right? Like I came here knowing this. You know what I'm saying? It was her. It hurt him to the death.
Justin swinging again. Justin.
Just not what he thought. Like I said, Bobby read music since I was in fifth grade. Let's stop that. But whatever. Like he said, but yeah, man. But I
said, well, we've done it. We've done a whole 2 hours again. I be like, we're gonna be here an hour and a half, but it was a good conversation. I want to thank my special guest, Michaela Rolanda. Michaela, we gonna cut up when I come back down there in y'all hot area where you can taste the air. Woo,
listen, come on, honey. We'll show you a good time in Birmingham.
Listen, y'all gonna show me where the food at first. We gonna find the food.
Oh, I got you. I got you.
Justin, thank you as normal for supporting. I that's what we need. We just need more of us doing it and not trying to tear each other up and pull each other down. It's been a good talk. Thank you. See y'all. Good night. Enjoy your new year. Spinks conference is coming up. I'm speaking with the Grammy educator of the year, music educator Tammy Sue Yee, and on a panel that I got invited to in the network. See how that go? Be blessed, y'all, and be safe. Be safe. Be safe.
All right. Good night, you guys.
Good night.
Good night, y'all.
Bye, y'all.